CMPRadio.net. It's the station. CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
CMPRadio.net, man. It's the station, the voice of the city of Chester. Now, don't get me wrong, right? We are all the voice of the city of Chester. And to prove my point, I got my sis, the politician bulldog. You feel me? I'm gonna call you the politician bulldog, man, because you ask all the right questions. You ask the tough questions, the questions that the people want to know. You ask those questions. I don't know what it is, but that's what I'm gonna call you. That's what you do. What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good. How was your day?
Yeah, it's a good day.
It's a good day?
Yeah.
Right. Carol Kazeem, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Tired yet?
Exhausted.
I bet
but you know, mommy duties also play a factor, so. But I'm good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm going to go ahead and dip on out of here and let you guys do what you want to do. CMPRadio.net is the station. Listen, if you have anything that you want to talk about, come up here to the radio station. Come up here and talk about it. You don't have to do a show with me. You can do your own show. Ain't that right, Nav?
Say it again. Now
You don't have to do a show with me. You can do your own show.
Yeah, for a fee.
There she said it. Mm-hmm. There it is. There it is. I'm out of here.
It's a small fee. It's not like but it's a fee. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, have fun.
Period.
Enjoy yourselves.
What?
Hey, Pisces.
So, Miss Carol, hi. How are you?
Hey, Nav. How you doing?
I'm trying to find the radio station. Here we go.
Okay.
It doesn't say that we're live. It says something else is live. Oh, there we go. All right. So,
okay.
I'm so excited to have you here. I've been waiting. I told P he interviewed you and he didn't interview you properly. I did.
Okay.
Because I felt like he let you say a whole bunch of stuff without answering a whole bunch of questions. So I'm gonna start with so I've never really heard of you until the young man got beat by the cops. Then I saw you.
Oh, okay.
So I asked who you were and I asked where did you come from. So I'm gonna ask you, where did you come from?
Well, I've always been here. I'm in Chester.
Mm-hmm.
Always been from Chester. I'm actually a public advocate. So I've always been around, even before by here. I believe that's the young man you're speaking about. So these are issues that I've been already fighting on, particularly in the city of Chester and across Delaware County and even in Pennsylvania and beyond different states.
So you lived here? You live here?
Mm-hmm. I still live here.
Your whole life?
Yeah, well, I left for about 4 years when I ended up attending Ridley High School.
Okay.
I was in Chester Upland, and, because of different fights and different situations, of course, I had to leave. And then I'll say after I graduated, about a year later, I came right back.
So you graduated from Ridley, not Chester High?
Yep, I graduated from Ridley High School.
Okay. So the biggest question that I have for you today is, what made you want to run for the state rep seat?
Honestly, as an activist myself, just being on the ground, working grassroots, and working across different many injustice already, I constantly kept seeing so many different, I'm gonna say, situations that I felt like not only just from the current rep, but even on all levels where we had been failed in the city of Chester. What really took the icing off the cake was, just really seeing more of our kids dying out here on the street. And it really got tiring for me, especially me being a parent. And, I work with so many different organizations, and also I work with so many, businesses as well that might end up selling guns and things like that, maybe like legal gun business owners, and just really holding them accountable and working across the board to see what's going on. And to sit here and see that we continuously are in a state of emergency where there's really not a real representation that is really trying to be able to combat these issues locally and also on the House floor, it really started to get tiring. Our school system, like I said, I grew up under Chester Upland School District, particularly my whole life until my 4 years I went to Ridley High School. But going over to Ridley High School and seeing all of the difference, it really opened my eyes more into the disparity we had going on here. Okay. And that's what made me want to come home and really want to help and do more. But just going from one politician to another politician and constantly telling them all the issues we're having and constantly like, yo, we need this done, we need that done. It got tiring. Like just going to them 5, 6, 7, 8, 100 times. I tried that way. I tried trying to work with them, as an activist, and it's like nothing is getting done. I feel like it's going in one ear and out the other. And I just really believe that we really need a new fresh face. I believe we need new ideas. And, me just now turning 30, I also believe we need someone younger that's also willing and energized to really get some things done. So that's part of the reason why.
What is a state rep? Like, what do they do?
So a state representative, honestly, is everything under the sun. Is really someone that actually represent and voice for the people who, do not have a voice. Also, they advocate for many different justice, whether it's around housing, whether it's around, your jobs, trying to bring in more jobs, really playing a factor even with the city, even around helping us economically. A state rep also help literally around like our veterans. It's just so many things that they do as far as fighting. Also, a state representative is also someone who helps write bills and introduce bills, also pass and vote on bills as well. Again, that is kind of more of a collective effort thing over there in Harrisburg, but that's what a representative do. They look at all the different injustice that goes on in our community, and they take that to the House floor, and they pretty much introduce bills based off of the experience that they see themselves or what other people go through.
So you speak on bills a lot when you talk. So what type of bills are you trying to get passed, like that can help us here in the city of Chester?
Sure. So one of the ones that I would like is the Gun Data National Act in the state of Pennsylvania. And what that would do is it will also help track a lot of the different violence that goes on across Pennsylvania. And part of that, how it would look is, prime example, we have situations going on right now, which I've been telling people, Chester Upland and Chichester School District. We have our kids pretty much having a lot of beef and different situations going on, where now a lot of crimes are partaking there, and they're finding people from Chester doing it. Crimes are partaking here, and they're finding people from there doing it. If we would have had this data act in place to be able to track all the different violence, where it's going on, how many is transpiring, we would be able to find the necessities that are and tools that are in place to be able to help us to know what resources are needed to help combat these issues. Okay. Another bill I would like to put in is the rent control, which will help around gentrification and people who, where like, how we always talk about that waterfront area, people that are renters. I'm sure you heard, if you haven't heard, a lot of people, are in a situation where they're constantly getting letters about people wanting to buy up the property. And if you're a renter, what happens is that a homeowner can end up saying, oh, well, you got 30 to 60 days to vacate. Okay. So which means that they're now put in a place in a position where they don't have a home. But if we have rent control in the state of Pennsylvania, that would help put a cap on how much that someone can be able to charge you for rent. That's for one, especially based off of the population and the median income level that's in the area. And also it will put some type of accountability where they will have to follow procedures before doing a move like that as well. So those are just two, but it's other ones as well.
So how do you get a bill passed? Like, how do you do that? Like, I hear you speaking about it. So what's the procedure for that?
So the first thing is, of course, you have to introduce it. If you want other representatives to basically, sponsor or support your bill, of course, you reach it out, have it out there where they can go ahead and, sponsor your bill. If not, it's just you. You would then present it to the appropriate committee based off of the bill that you're putting out there. So if you're trying to put a bill out that has to do with revitalizing more homes, and you want to put something in place around that, then that would go to the Urban Affairs Committee that deal with the housing. So that's basically how you introduce it. Then from there, they would go more into debate. You have the opportunity to present your bill to talk about what that bill would consist of, what that would look like, why do you feel like they should support it, and what would you suggest why they should pass it. And it's up to, that committee to vote on whether they're going to pass it through the House, or it may just end up sitting, so it's not always a guarantee, but you do have to keep putting the pressure, to constantly keep it going.
Okay.
And then from there, go to the Senate.
That's a lot.
It is a
Ready for
lot.
all of that?
I am, because I am someone that, currently I'm also a paralegal major, so my goal is to also become an attorney.
So you're in college right now?
Yes. So I've been actually in healthcare for a long time, so I do have, my background more in healthcare, but my passion has always been law, so I've been studying law pretty much for a while as well. Anyone that's in law would also tell you that it's very hard too, because new bills, new laws coming every day, so you have to catch up. So it is hard, but I do take the time to study and research it as well.
Okay, so now I get a little personal, because how do you propose to be are you going to consider yourself a politician or a person who stands for the people? I don't know. So how are you going to consider yourself to be a great state representative when you're newly married, you have small children, and you're in college, and you work? So how are you going to give the 159th district, because they say I'll be selfish when I only say Chester, but that's really all I care about. How are you going to give us all of you and still give them all of you?
Honestly, the best way that I can answer that is that I'm already doing that now. Okay. So part of that, is like I said, I'm an activist. So part of that is also lobbying. So as being a mother, as someone that's been in college for a couple years now, while I already obtain and already hold certain certificates and also degrees while doing the same thing and myself, I've already been showing up, to Harrisburg and also locally, even across Delaware County. So I could see if it was more like a Chester thing, but like you said, throughout the 159th, I actually am a part of different organizations that are out there helping the homeless, unhoused, because we use that term now, the unhoused, people that are out there going through situations where they're even now dealing with about to be evicted, providing resources, combating gun violence. So I'm also a trauma-informed outreach worker, also a gun violence interrupter, actually here in the city of Chester.
Say that again. You said that kind of fast.
Okay,
you are gun violence what?
So I'm a trauma-informed outreach worker and also a gun violence interrupter here in the city of Chester as well. So that also permits me being out sometimes, maybe middle of the night, late nights, if certain things happen, or if I'm, reached out by maybe few people from different neighborhoods of a possibility of retaliation. I may go out and speak with people about that, trying to deflect that.
Oh, you willing to risk your life for this?
Well, I have kids. My kids grow up here. My kids are from Chester. They born and raised. So you have to remember that this is environment our kids is around. So it is a very risky job.
I ain't risking my life for that.
Well,
I love my kids a little bit more than I'm gonna let it straight.
Oh no, I love my kids. I'm still home with mine, but I'm saying that it's still the job. That's what I do professionally. So part of that is something that we have to do in order for us to combat it. And again, that comes with, if you're planning on being on state rep, then how do you not plan on going out there and, making sure that these issues are also being down? That is what a state representative do as well.
I was going to ask you that. So that's a part of what the state rep should be doing.
Yes.
So they should be a part of anything that has to do with violence and gun violence, gun control, everything. So what's your take on gun control? Where are we going at with that?
Well, the gun control part, that one is more of it's all over the place, honestly. I do believe you do have the right to bear arms. However, I do work with, and I have been talking with a lot of gun owners, and also businesses that have the right to operate legally. And my take is that we need to make sure that we look at the process that they are doing when they're actually having people come in and buy guns. Secondly, what I've been doing is partnering with some of these, businesses that actually can legally sell guns and checking straw purchases. Okay. So anything that's a possibility of anything that is like an alarming to straw purchase, I want to know, what is y'all protocol? How do we work together to make sure that these things aren't transpiring? So after talking with them, the honest truth is I've seen some things based off of their process, which actually shows me okay, maybe this might need to be done a little indifferent. Prime example on a gun control, holding them accountable, where if you notice the same person is constantly coming in, buying so many guns within a certain month, then there should be some type of protocol. There's a lot of gun business owners that do not do that.
How many gun business owners do we have in the city of Chester?
We only have one. However, when you set the 159th, we have about four. Through the 159th. But again, you have to talk with everybody across the board. So when you go to the rural areas now, that's a different story. They got a whole lot, but that also have to deal with the next thing I want to do with gun control is the safety, the culture. So we have to also remember that the rural area do that as a living. They hunt. Here we doing bodies. You get what I'm saying? It's two different.
I would say here we're doing it for survival if we're buying them the right.
But that's what I'm saying, bodies.
Yeah.
It's more over there. They're more focused on we're just gonna go get a gun to hunt, to go kill deers, to go, do what they're doing. Not to say that people don't do that here, because we have certain parts where they do it. However, we have more of a higher rate of people actually being, killed here compared to the rural areas. So
but not with legally purchased guns though. These are illegally purchased guns. These are not licensed firearms that we're finding these people to be killed with. So
majority of them are ghost guns. You're correct. And there are some that are legal guns too, that reflects back to straw purchases.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm more focused on when it comes to the gun control and making sure that business owners, people that can operate are not violating the law by doing that. And the honest truth is, majority of them, they're not going to risk losing a whole license and doing all that behind one person. Yeah. But again, there are some that do work. And truthfully, there are also officers that's selling them out in the back of the trunk too. So yeah, there is. That's the honest truth. I'm gonna always be thorough and honest.
So what happens when you get in? What happens if you take the state rep seat? Because I believe that once you get into that position, it's certain things you can and you can't say. Will you still stand by? There's officers that's selling guns outside of this. If I would have knew you was gonna say that, I'd have had to stop you. Like, listen, sis, you can't say stuff like that. So, how do you stand behind it? Politicians say a lot of stuff to get our votes, and then when they get in there, they can't uphold those things. So, say you win tomorrow, you win. Okay. You still gonna stand behind an officer selling guns out of his trunk?
Yeah, I am. Because again, I'm not the ordinary politician. This is my first time running for office. I'm running for office because I'm speaking from an advocate standpoint. And granted, you're all right. When you do go in, again, this is my first time. So going in there, I don't know what, I'm walking into. Okay. However, for someone like myself who has probably visited Harrisburg numerous of times in months, I kind of see the drift of what they do. And I hear the way that they speak. I do believe that as long as you uphold yourself and you keep your foot down, there's not really so much that they can tell you what you can say and what you don't say. Okay. The problem that comes in why people don't speak on certain things is because who funds them. Okay. That is the big difference, is who funds them. So financially, if you're getting something, let's just say the NRA, you're not going to talk about guns. Cops getting, selling out guns. I don't need money from the NRA. So those are the problems that we have. It's not that they can't speak on it. It's who fund them and who they need to keep them in power. And that's why things aren't spoken out on. Okay.
So I want to get into this whole Cavanta situation.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're able to talk about it, but how do you feel about them? Because didn't they just sign a new contract?
Yeah, the county just signed the new one for 3 years. However, they did put out that, which was the Solid Waste Authority. Okay. They did put out that every 6 months they can revisit, which would then look into the contract based off of whatever happens. What they also did was they stopped allowing Delaware county's trash to no longer be burned in Chester. Even though we now are going to take in still other states, it's still a step forward. As far as how I feel about Cavanta itself, honestly, I'm not happy with it because, again, we have one of the largest incinerator throughout the United States burning trash in our backyards in a residential area where kids and seniors, these are homeowners that live there. Even if it was renters, whoever, it still risks our health. And again, it doesn't just affect those on the west side, it's still spreading over, even to the east side, everyone. So when you put in me, my children, my neighbors, my babies, my family health at risk, that's a problem for me. If they're going to burn the trash like incinerators have the right to do, don't do it in the backyard. We have a landfill for that. You know what I'm saying? So my issue with Cavanta, it's been here. Okay. This is something that it's not going to happen overnight. They're not just going to pack up and go. I tell the organizers, we know they're not going to just pack up and go, but we can still try to work and fight towards making sure that the residents, at least here, for one, if they're going to be here, that funding that they're giving us, what they're giving us, 2, 3, 5 million, which really there should be at 20, 30 mil from what they were assessed for. Why are we, just being everybody's dumping pool? here, but yet we're not benefiting from it. So part of that's the issue that I have. And that's why I vowed to not take any money from Covanta, because I'm not going to put our baby's health at risk anymore.
So I'm going to ask you the same question again that I asked about the guns. I'm going to ask about Covanta. So what happens when you're in that seat and you need their money? So if you win the seat, because apparently they fund a lot of politicians and a lot of campaigns as well. So I see so many people fight against them and was fighting against Westinghouse, I think that was the name of them, as well as the company before that. And each politician that has sat in either seat in the city of Chester has always had to bite their words. Do you feel like that's going to be you?
I really don't believe, honestly. I know I'm not going to need Covanta's money. For one, Covanta has given about $500 to most of them. I got that right now in my pocket. So I don't need, I can fund myself. I don't need $500 from them for them to say, let me just keep burning and putting y'all in risk. That's honestly what they're saying. Okay. People have taken tours. I've taken a tour. It's terrible. Honestly, there are a lot of politicians that was like, yeah, it is terrible. And the truth is those politicians that take from them don't deal with them because they're not in their backyard. Okay. So it's easy for them to say, yeah, give us some money. That's why they're in a way acting like, yeah, we hear y'all, but they don't want it there. Yeah. That's why I go there screaming to them all day long. Y'all don't want it in your backyards. Don't send your trash to us. So, and even with the process of all of that, which we're going to piggyback to the contract, that was a whole circle around, because they like, well, where the trash gonna go? So it's like, well, who you think gonna take it? So that was the whole problem with that too. But I really am not going to be taking it because again, Covanta has reached out, honestly, and I'm going to be transparent because I said I'm always going to be. And they wanted to fund. I rejected it. And even if they go ahead, because they could easily, which some colleges, they could easily still dump some money in your account, but you can also hit refund. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not taking from them.
Okay. So now let's get into the school district. Like, how will you help us with funding? How will you help us to ensure that the actual persons in charge at the district use the funds properly? Like, what's your take on that?
So the whole school district situation, anybody that probably knows, majority of people know that I really fought hard with, for one, not charterizing our district when, Juan Bon was here. Mm-hmm. Secondly, when it came down to funding, the same thing that I'm going to do, and just to give a little history on that, I actually attended and spoke at different budget hearings for the state of PA, from the Legislative Black Caucus, the PA one, and also just the PA Dems Legislative Caucus. I actually told them about why Chester Upland needs to be continued to be funded. And what I was doing was advocating of why we constantly need funding, but not just funding just to throw at us, which goes into what you said about how are they allocated. We need to really make sure we have something strategically put out there that also would be budgeted appropriately, as we keep having a problem, but also just the programs in place. We're not seeing any money that's really going and investing back into our elective programs that can really start bringing back training programs, more career skill set programs in our school districts. Secondly, the amount of money that comes in, you have to look at how much they're putting out per student. So prior to this fiscal year that just came out, which they passed the bill for the fiscal year for the Level Up program, which would then give it, which I was also a very big advocate for. I was in Harrisburg lobbying for it because at the time they had the fair funding formula that was presented, but there was never no budget put in place. Okay. We were advocating for a budget to be put in place because it was long overdue, so the underserved school districts could get the money. Okay. So I was that person that was going out there lobbying for that money. Okay. Now, once it came down that it became a big topic and Chester Upland and everybody else was screaming hell high and low, such as William Penn, Southeast Delco, Chichester, I went to Chichester and told them, y'all need to start getting this together too, because y'all need some money as well. That's when Chichester started collaborating with me. And we were going to Harrisburg and we were speaking out on it. We even went to DC. Okay. Once it started becoming a topic, that's when it was then presented to the House floor, which the other, including our current rep and others, now had it in front of their, face to basically pass it, to debate on it, to talk about whether they're going to pass it ongoing yearly or for that fiscal year. So my goal moving forward is to actually walk into our schools, see exactly what's going on in our school, all of our schools within our district, see how the teachers are putting out their modules, see how the superintendent is doing, and see also the current receiver that we have going on. Now, not only just me seeing it, but working with them. So I can't just go in and be, you do that, you do that, but at least seeing how are they presenting these different items and then put in my input and take on what can we do different. And then also because you can't keep allocating for money, but then it's not going to be appropriated right.
Okay.
So I'm going to be honest. I'm the type that I'm going to bring in whatever we can. But at the same time, if you're not putting it to where it needs to be, especially for our kids, and we're just still going to keep going with the same thing in our school district, then what is the point? So we have to not only secure the funds, but we have to also make sure that we're playing a factor with our children in our school district along with our school board and making sure that the money is being put out. So that's something I'm going to continue to keep doing, is sitting and working amongst them to make sure that the money is being allocated properly, making sure that we're moving forward to more programs, and also really just, combating a lot of the mental health issues we got going on in our school, the violence that's going on as well. Just really trying to be as much as of a representative, and an advocate for the students as well in there.
Never heard anyone answer that way before. Okay, so basically you just gonna be everywhere. Like you gonna stretch yourself. You ready for that? I keep asking you this. You ready for that?
Honestly, Nafatif, I'm already doing it. You get what I'm saying? Like everywhere, I can promise and guarantee you that if you look at anything, you could easily even Google my name, you will see me everywhere. So whether it's around police accountability, whether it's around our school district, whether it's around our environmental, whether it's around about affordable housing, whether it's about advocating for caregivers, which is one that I'm still constantly screaming of, which is increasing the wages. This, let's just say Chester, because you said earlier that's where you mainly care about. Chester has more of the highest population of caregivers that are in their community that deals with healthcare. So I don't know if you ever worked in healthcare, but for myself, I have. We are the most overworked and underpaid. Mm-hmm. So just even advocating for things like that, we can't expect for us to keep making $10, $11 an hour. Yes, we do have some that are like, hey, we're willing to give you 2021 because everybody know that they're desperate for people. Mm-hmm. But we don't have a law in place that makes sure that money is going to continue at that same rate.
So you fighting for minimum wage increase?
As well, yep.
How do you propose you do that? If they've been fighting for that for a long time.
They have been, but I think the goal is, I think what we can do is break it down by job professions. So like, for example, today, because I'm always like following up with things, there's, what do you call it? The waitresses, people that are tip workers. They finally proposed and also passed the bill that can also help people that are working off of tips, where now the jobs no longer can just reduce your $7.25 an hour to, I believe that $2.80, unless you're making a certain amount. So now it has to be, you have to make this amount in order for them to reduce it. Okay. So I think if we start from different career professions that we know are still yet underserved, and looking into that, I think that's at least a stepping stool. So that's how I prefer to propose it. Really start looking into these jobs, trying to figure out, okay, let's start with people that are making money off tips. Let's start with caregivers that are working through home health agencies like Bayada, or Vitas, like, places like that. At least if we can start with those type of professions, I think across the state, we'll probably end up taking care of everybody by then. These are the people who's really making minimum wage too, honestly.
So, all right, this is going to be my last question for you because I know you got to get on with your day. And I also have an up-and-coming interview with the current state rep. So should you win, what is one promise that you can make to the city of Chester that you can actually keep? I
will show up and I will be there to make sure that whatever situation or needs that is going on, I will be there. And even if you do not see me, because like you said, if I'm going to be in Harrisburg, who's going to be here, mm-hmm. I can honestly guarantee that I'm going to have a team that's not going to play those games, because anybody that works for me, even under my movement campaign now, I don't play that. So if someone's reaching out, if I'm not available to reach out, I expect you to respond. I expect you to give them the best representation that I would, and open ears and, provide them with as much information. So even if I'm not there, I expect my team to do that. But I can honestly, account and say that I will be there. And I believe the people know that. Mm-hmm. And if those that don't know it, I'm telling them I will be there. I will be there to make sure that I fight with all my might and core to make sure that I do the best that I can do as a representative to make sure that the people get what they deserve. Because like I said, I believe we've been underrepresented for a long time. I'm from here. Like I said, I was born here, raised here, and it does bother me to see that we still in a state that we're in fact, even less. Honestly, because growing up here, I was a part of many programs, and to see that we don't have nothing it's my problem for me. Also, another thing that I would love to say is that I'm going to definitely make sure that I put as much might as I can to our babies. Talking with many, seniors, a lot of them have their concerns, but the main thing that they say to me is, Carol, just focus on our babies, just help them figure out something. And one of the things that I was doing was I went down William Penn Projects and I was talking to some of the younger individuals. There was a boy sitting there on a generator, and it was a volunteer that was with me who can even testify to this. And me and him was talking. I was like, what you got going on? We talking. And he was like, oh, nobody never really come and talk to us. So we start, rapping. We start talking. He was like, oh, well, I was like, what you got going? He was like, the legal stuff or illegal stuff? I'm like, please don't tell me the legal stuff, because I don't want to hear. I'm like, our kids. But the reason why I bring that up is because he started telling me about how he felt like, honestly, marijuana keeps him calm. But then he said, oh, I feel like, I can't even pull out because I'll get locked up. And I said, well, won't you put that into a professional business? He said, professional business? I said, they have cannabis now. People are actually having businesses, and you can go to school and get a license for this. You can go right to PIT, get classes, and get certified to do this, and you can even operate your own business. So I told him that this is the reason why we need to educate and get this type of thing out, because if you go to Baltimore Pike right now media, you'll see where it says no medical card, cannabis, CBD, come get it. But then we in our neighborhood, they'll still lock our babies up for it.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So part of that is, again, opening up that doorway to get our kids to understand that it's a road to business, there's a road to a career. So even though I'm going to be advocating for us and equity and equality and all of that, we have to also make sure, and I'm going to make sure that we're making, putting us in a position to, how do we maintain? How do we start up? How do we keep it going? So it can't be just always a take. We have to also educate and teach them. So that's what I'm trying to come in and make sure that I promise that I'm also going to do as well.
Well, I thank you for coming and talking with me. You got a great following.
Honestly, I didn't even look that way. I was more looking at you. Okay.
But you have a great following. But I appreciate you for coming and talk with me. I would like to talk to you after the primary.
Okay.
And then, we can go from there, because despite the fact that, like, if you win or not, I still want to know what it is that you're doing. I still want to hold you accountable for what you told me today.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that I don't see her. Or I don't see him, or whatever, and I'm 100% honest. I'm a little bit of everywhere.
Okay.
So that's why I said I've never saw you before, the young man and the cop. So.
Well, have you heard of Chester Sweeps? The thing with me and Christy Barnes.
Yeah,
yep. So that.
So I did hear that,
but go ahead.
I didn't know that was you.
Okay.
So when I first saw it, I saw Chrissy, because she's part of the station. So she was like, we got this cleanup across the city going. So then P informed me that you were a part of that as well. So, but I feel like everybody does the same thing when they see other people doing it, and vice versa. So, but I will hold you accountable. I hope you're not offended by anything that I actually.
No. You have, as a resident, you have the right, and as a community member, you have the right, because the honest truth is, the same way how you sit there, I put people in seats too, and I ask them questions and I hold them accountable. So, like you said, I'm stepping up the run. That is your right, and that is your duty. Like anybody else that wants to ask me, to sit down with me as well. So I do not take anything offensive at all. You're a woman just like me. I think as Black women, we need to know how to sit down and have a conversation respectfully, and have that talk. So thank you as well for having me as well. And just to also reiterate, because I know you mentioned that some people are doing the same. I have noticed the same as well too. But I just want to, make this clear.
Invite them over to your program, so we don't have to pick and choose between who we gonna help. Everybody can't be in one place at one time. So I think that to open it up for everybody to be a part of it would be a great thing. So if they're out there cleaning the highways, you and your crew show up and say, we're gonna clean the highway together. And I feel like that's the problem. We're fighting so much internally that the external sees it like, man, I'm not helping none of them. So at this point, you both are running for the same exact seat under the same. Y'all both Democrats, right?
Yes, we're both Democrats.
Y'all both running for the same seat under a Democratic seat. But my thing is, why y'all can't work together?
I tried it.
You tried.
I tried it, especially around the gun violence, especially around, like you said, the community cleaning. And that's why you even brought up earlier about everybody working together. That's why me and Christy came together. It was originally actually me, Christy Barnes, and Michelle Gasson. So anybody that worked with me, even P, I know he goes out there, do the highway part, and he'll do that part while we do the street part. Many people came out to support and help with that. And this is something that we've been doing ongoing. We actually would be starting back up. We would have by now if I wasn't campaigning. but we still going to be going back to doing it. But not even just with cleaning, but even just going out there. I don't know if you knew, but during when COVID first hit, because I know some people bring up, oh, well, this person did during COVID. I don't know if you knew Chriselle, Mr. Dorsey and them daughter, when Chef LaMontagne was doing it too, feeding out the food. I actually would drive around every day and feed 300 families. I went shopping. I spent $2,000 of my own money, and the community, Chester, came through as well, heavy, and also donated as well. And that's one thing I would never take granted, because when it was time for us to come together, we came together as a community. And many people, still to this day, I got receipts, names of everybody that donated. I went shopping every 2 days. Walmart started getting tired of me buying up all their crimpets and snacks and tasty cakes and juices. So they started collaborating and sold this ShopRite. Then Giorgio started jumping in because I would do pizza days and would give the snacks. So that was something that I did every day and fed over 300 families. And I would drive my own vehicle and drop it off to families to eliminate any house fires. That was when COVID first hit. I did it from literally March all the way to the third week of June. And it was to make sure that if parents had older kids in the house, they had to watch them. There were single dads that were like, yo, what I'm going to do. So, confidentially, you didn't see it out there because people had to inbox me their address. Okay. And I never put out any pictures who did what unless they did it themselves. Okay. And I did it through the whole county, but it was mainly in Chester, Parkside, Linwood, and Eddystone who took from it. And then also, that's when I started getting calls from the Wesley House. Then I would drop off about 100-something packages to the Wesley House every day, make the lunches, and then some of their drivers would drive it to the families in the hotel. Okay. So, I just say that to say that when it comes to doing the work, I'm fine with anybody. So I would love to talk with you after the primary, because it is about us doing it together. I tell people all day, it really helps me when other people are like, hey, let's put it together. I don't care about, I could honestly organize on the back end, and if you guys want to go execute it, I'm fine with that too. Even if it comes down to you want to put it together and you just say, Carol, I'm going to be busy, can you go out? But it's about coming together, because the more people, the better we can help each other. So let's definitely talk.
All right, we will. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you in the future, whether you're the state rep or not. I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely, and thank you. And are you going to ask are we going to have a debate? Can you ask him about it?
Have a debate?
Yes, because
wait till Brian Kirkland get here.
I did ask 3 times.
Did you?
Yes, and I think we should, because I believe that the people deserve a debate. So should I stick around and wait, or do you feel like I should leave and then come back?
I would leave and then come back, because I would actually call P to see what his reply is, or tune in, be in the comments, to see if he will say for a debate. I don't know if he has time to do it today, but I will find out. I didn't know he requested a debate.
I requested for a debate 3 times, only because there are people that might have questions on my end and people that have questions on his end. So I feel like instead of it just being only a thing where he's talking, I'm talking, I feel like there are people that are going to say, hey, well, what's this? So maybe that could be an opportunity that people could reach out to you or P and ask questions, so we can just be asked at the same time. And just, it would be easier for people to know, because there may be things he might want to bring up that I'm talking about that he might want to say, well, hold up. And there might be things he might say and I want to say, well, hold up. But I think that people do deserve at least to hear from both candidates, especially something that they feel like is a matter to them.
Well, I'm going to ask them. Right?
All right. Well, I'm just up for it, and I think that people deserve it. People asked me, people said, well, Carol, I don't see you and him sitting with each other. And I said, well, I'm fine with it. So I'm just trying
I don't see y'all not being able to sit with each other.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I tell people, like, I'm okay with it. So people are wondering, why haven't we done it? Because they felt like the last election, they said that Portia, Stefan, and Kearney had one. So people are asking, why aren't we having one?
I don't think they should have had one, but that's none of my business. But I'm going to see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
I should be expecting him within the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I will ask about the debate.
Okay, and then reach out to me if he say he wants to. That just kind of had
me excited.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to.
I like the political rumbles, because I like to see who really know what in the same room. I do. Because now I have to ask him the same questions that I asked you, and then he might say something and I'm like, damn, she didn't even say that. You know what I'm saying? But if everybody was in the same room, I would be able to
it's easy to kind of, moderate and go from there. So, okay. But just let me know if he does. I think Monday we should do it maybe in the daytime, and we could do it Monday, the day before election.
Okay. Yep. I'll find out.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one, everybody. Thank y'all for having me.
And y'all stick around, because next up I got the current state rep, Brian Kirkland, coming through. Come on, stay right there, y'all. Y'all stay right there.
Okay. P, you want to end the thing?